they're really unbelievable guys. I mean, Zach Harris has been such a huge help for me getting into the scene, meeting guys, helping me out, telling me, he's the one that turned me on to Greg Schutte playing drums, and so he was the one that was like, man, you should really call Greg, and he's great, and so Zach's been really great. He got me hooked up with Tanner Taylor. I've played some gigs with Tanner now, and yeah, he's really been a huge help in getting me into the scene. So, and then Adam Linz has been huge too. I mean, Adam, he lives in my building, so we sort of moved into the building not knowing that he lived there, and I had gone out and seen him at back to Wednesdays on Monday nights at the Clown Lounge all the time, and when we finally became friends because we lived in the same building, had him over for drinks a few times, talked about music, talked about New York and the scene here in town, and the differences and the pros and cons, and he's really he's been amazing, helping me out and telling me that he playing in my band. Adam Linz is like he's an unbelievable player, an unbelievable person, so it's really a pleasure to play with these guys. They're all great guys, and yeah, I'm happy that they dig the music. So as people, I mean, they've been such a huge help for me, to get into the scene. They're all putting in good words to the Dakota. I mean, that's how we got the first Dakota gig. Is those guys are going over there telling Dan Eichmeyer is like, you guys should check this guy out. That's the kind of thing that they were doing for me. So it's been really great. And then Zach just booked. Zach's booking for Tuesday nights at the Clown Lounge now, and he called me to book me for the 29th, which is where we're playing this month, 29th at the Clown Lounge. So.
Well, excellent. Now, just to be clear, Zach Harris is the guitarist.
Yep.
And Adam Linz is a longtime Twin Cities bassist who is now also he runs the McNally, right? Not McNally, McPhail
Yep, McPhail.
School of Music Jazz Ensemble.
Yep. He's the jazz coordinator over at McPhail. Yeah, he directs the Dakota Combo, and the same job that Kelly Rossum had before I moved to New York City. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that really impressed me with your record as a whole, For Dad, was it was so highly textured. There's so many levels all the time, and one I think was it was the guitar.
Yeah.
It seemed to be oftentimes well down in the mix, but doing these interesting, almost serpentine things.
Yeah. Well, Zach is so amazing, and there's a great story about I Didn't Really Know Her, which is one of the tunes on the record. Zach said he was jogging and listening to the track that was recorded from one of the Dakota gigs we played, when we played that tune, and he said because he was jogging and bouncing, the sound was sort of was waving in his ears, and he started thinking it'd be really cool if I got like a pedal that had that same effect, and then used that on the record. So he actually came up with that on his own, like jogging, listening to the old record, listening to the old recording of I Didn't Really Know Her, which is really cool. So he's constantly trying to figure out new ways to get new sounds and new textures and keep things really interesting in the rhythm section. Those guys, and that's why those guys are so great. They're constantly thinking of new sounds and trying to make the music, what it should be, is really beautiful music that's fun to listen to and interesting. But accessible at the same time,
Sometimes, well, let's go with the issue. I mean, you talked about going to hear Fat Kid Wednesdays, which, of course, is a local band that has received some notoriety in France and lately New York City.
Yeah.
And they push the envelope a long way.
Yeah.
It includes Mike Lewis of Happy Apple. And you've also talked about, in various places, being influenced by Dave Douglas, an important trumpeter of the last decade and a half, but he also takes some real chances at times. Then
absolutely.
He's more accessible at times.
Yeah.
So how does accessibility fit in then with some of your own personal interests and what you want to do with your music?
Yeah. Well, when I'm writing, I'm not thinking I'm going to write an accessible song, a song that's easy to listen to. It just, a lot of this music just came out in a very, very groove-based and rock influenced, and a lot of that comes from listening to the more accessible Dave Douglas tunes and the more accessible Happy Apple tunes. I went through a big phase where I was listening to a lot of Mike Lewis, a lot of Happy Apple, and those rock ballads that they play on that Happy Apple record. Where Does a Stranger Go on Christmas Eve, and things like that, tunes like that. were really influential on my writing, I think, at this time. And especially, like, Dave Douglas has just been such a huge influence on me, both as an improviser and as a writer. But, you know, I've taken, I guess, on this record, a lot of those tunes just came out as tunes that are pretty accessible music. But what's great about having the guys that I have is that it doesn't get boring, you know. They know how to take music that is very much, at times, diatonic and keep it interesting. So yeah, it's been a pleasure to play with them, and yeah, I mean.
Well, that question about accessibility was not, of course, a knock.
Oh no, absolutely. I know.
I was interested because the way you used the phrase, it was kind of almost a decision. Maybe it sounded like you were aesthetically making and kind of wanted to pursue it a bit.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, Banana Lady. I guess, did they talk to you about the title on 88.5?
No, not at all.
Let's talk about the title.
Yeah. Banana Lady was written for my wife. Banana Lady is her nickname. And she got the nickname. My wife is Jana Nyberg. And Jana Banana, you know, rhymes. So I guess when she was a little kid, she used to watch Captain Kangaroo, the old Captain Kangaroo show. And Banana Man was a guy on the show, Banana Man, and he had this laugh, and I'm not going to try to imitate it here, but apparently she laughed like the Banana Man when she was a little kid. So so they started calling her Banana Lady, and so, you know, that nickname stuck. And then when we started dating, I was calling her Banana Lady or Banana, Jana Banana, that kind of thing. So I wrote the tune and titled Banana Lady. It was around the time that we got engaged. So it was a tune written for her, and I really liked the tune. It was written when I was an undergrad at Lawrence, and I stole some ideas from Dave Douglas in that tune, and I was listening to a lot of Dave Holland as well at the time, which I think you can hear in the writing. But yeah, I mean, I love that tune. I love what the guys are doing with it too. So that's the inspiration behind the title.